Hi, well, we're just starting to get the verdicts in this trial, and to remind people of what happened. 4 French journalists, Pierre Torres, Nicolas Henin, Didier Francois and Edward Elias, were kidnapped in 2013 by the Islamic State group in Syria, and they were held for 10 months in what Nicolas Henin has described as torture factories. And 5 suspected jihadists have been on trial here. 2 of them are actually on trial in absentia because they're believed to be dead. But the other 3 have been sitting here listening to what can only be described as the sickening details of how those men were held. And some of the stuff the courts heard is, for example, that they were held, their feet were bound at times, that they were beaten, that they were forced to watch the executions of other prisoners who were being held, that at times they were brought out and carried out and made to endure mock executions themselves. So one of them talked about being brought out in the boiling sun in Syria and being forced to live through a fake crucifixion, others fake beheadings, that they had to live in these horrendous conditions surrounded by the screams of other prisoners who were being brutalised. Now, the court has been deliberating, thinking about its verdicts, and they have handed out the verdicts to some of these men. These are just coming in. So the first is Mehdi Nemmouche. Now, Mehdi Nemmouche has been a key focus in this trial. He's 39, and a month after those journalists were released in 2014, he walked into the Jewish Museum in Brussels, opened fire and killed 4 people. He is already serving a life sentence for that attack. He's back on court here, and throughout this trial, he has always maintained that he was a terrorist. Today, in his closing argument, he said, "I did not regret 1 hour, 1 day, 1 act that I committed." However, he also denied consistently being these men's jailers, but all 4 of them identified him. They recognised his voice. They said when they were being tormented, they remembered him talking to them in French, singing songs, constantly there. So he was the one. He has been found guilty. The prosecution had asked for a life sentence with a minimum of 22 years without parole. Others who have been found guilty, Osama Attar and Salim Ben Galim, both of those believed to be high-ranking members of the Islamic State group, both of them involved in attacks that happened in 2015 in Paris. Now, as I said, 2 of them, and it's those 2 who are believed to be dead, have been found guilty in absentia. And just to confirm that Mehdi Nemmouche, that man I was telling you about, already serving a life sentence, has been given another life sentence with a minimum 22 years to be served without parole. So after more than a decade since these men were released, after 10 months of living in hell, they can finally see some of those responsible for holding them captive being brought to justice.